the postpartum depression still decided to show up at my door and show up very fiercely. It showed up in a way that I was not expecting. Edit. All right, here goes nothing. This is my 7-month postpartum update. First of all, my daughter's name is Temple. Yes, she is 7 months and 1 week. My name is Tiffany. If you are new here, I'm a full-time mental health and substance abuse therapist bringing you food, lifestyle, and mental health content. I had my daughter on September 9th, 2024. She is my first child. I had her via C-section, which was necessary due to a prior open myomectomy that I had to remove 31 fibroids from my body in June 2022. I will talk about my hospital experience and the birthing experience and all of those details in another video because that deserves a full video in and of itself. But what I will share is that my recovery from my C-section was much better than the recovery from my open myomectomy. I was able to walk out of the hospital without assistance and able to carry like a bunch of bags and stuff. My hospital experience was beautiful, but again, I'll get into that in another video. One of the things that seems to be controversial in like the mother community, meaning like, of course, your algorithm is going to change because you've probably been searching for things on TikTok, on Threads, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that appears to be controversial is the way that you feed your child. My baby gets pumped breast milk. I have been an exclusive pumper since she's been born, essentially. Again, I'll talk about that in more detail in its own video because feeding your baby deserves its own video. But I currently pump 6 times a day around the clock. I used to pump 8 times a day up until she was 12 weeks old. So since she was 12 weeks old until now, I pump 6 times a day. And of course, it gets poured in a bottle, and that's how I feed Temple. There was a Kinder Meal shortage sometime, I think, early on. And I think that that just made me feel even more committed to making sure that I was being diligent when it came to pumping so that I could feed my baby the breast milk that I wanted her to have. Now, when it comes to my postpartum experience, at day 6 postpartum, me and Temple went out for walks. Now, remember, I had her in September, so the weather was perfect. So I didn't experience like feeling like I was stuck in the house too much because we would get out. Not only would I walk, but we would go to like the farmers market, outdoor fall festivals, anything that was outdoors. I put my baby in the stroller and we went. So we were walking at 6 days. And after that, we were walking 20 miles a week. 20 miles a week until I went to the doctor around my 8-week period, so that my doctor could clear me to actually be able to work out. After my doctor cleared me to work out, I started back going to the gym. I went to the gym a few times prior to the 8 weeks, but that was solely to be able to walk at a slow, like regular pace because it was raining outside. I did go to pelvic floor therapy, and my pelvic floor therapist said that running actually isn't recommended until I can't remember what she said, but it was somewhere around like 8 or 10 weeks. So I actually had slowed down on the running because as soon as my doctor cleared me to run, I had started running, girl. So I was like, let me slow down. And then my pelvic floor therapist gave me some exercises so that I could make sure that my body was actually prepared to run with some ab exercises and et cetera, et cetera. So the thing that I will share that I wasn't prepared for when it came to motherhood is the loss of time freedom. I am a very independent girl. I am an only child, and I've just lived my life very independently. And the loss of time freedom has been the most difficult thing for me to adjust to because I am so active. Now, mind you, I am the mother that will take my baby any and everywhere. Um, but there are things that I can't take her to, like my nails, getting my hair done, etc. And there is mom guilt associated with my husband having to watch her for extended amounts of time for things where in my mind it doesn't feel necessary, like my nails, my hair, etc. So I'm trying to find balance because he doesn't make me feel guilty at all. I'm pointing because he's like down in the basement working, but he doesn't make me feel guilty at all. And he actually does not like it when um, my language even sounds like he has to watch his child because that's his baby. Like he wants to spend time with his baby. But that's been like the difficult piece for me is that loss of time freedom. And everything takes so long. I am usually always an on time girl. And with a baby, I am always running behind. I have to tack on an additional hour to an hour and a half for when I actually plan to get out the door because between pumping and then getting her ready, everything takes a lot of time. The pumping for me, I is probably a little bit more militant than other people. Like I've never leaked out in public, but that's because I don't play when it comes to my pumping schedule because I realize that when I pump, I am providing the required nutrients and nourishment for my child. And my mindset is nothing, absolutely nothing is going to get in my way of feeding my baby. So, because of that, other things in my life have had to adjust. And that means that at times your girl is late. So, with that, that means that I'm often late for things. And that's just usually not my jam. Around the 4 month mark, not around, I had 4 months of leave, 2 months of short term disability, paid 90%, not that 60% mess, and then 2 months of actual fully paid maternity leave. When I went back to work, that was difficult as far as actually going into the office because of the amount of stuff that I now have to take with me, which is my pump bag. So now I got my purse, my workbook bag, my lunch bag, and my pump bag. And it just takes a lot of effort to get out the door. And remember, I am very militant about my pump schedule. So I have to pump in the morning when I wake up multiple times and then also pump when I get to work. So it just is a lot and it could be very overwhelming. And I believe that that transition back to work, despite the fact that I have a comfortable work environment to be able to pump, nice clean environment, I believe that that contributed to the postpartum depression that I began to experience, on top of winter coming and then my birthday coming and feeling like I wasn't able to do the things that I would usually do around that time period. So my birthday came, and then that's when postpartum depression began to hit for me. I thought that I was in the clear. I mean, my husband treated me exceptionally well, treats me exceptionally well, and made sure that I was able to take care of myself. There's never been a time since I've had my daughter where my nails have gone undone, where where my hair had to be messed up. There were times where my hair was messed up, but it wasn't because he didn't allow me time to take care of myself. I've been able to still go to the gym and work out regularly. My body is back to its normal size, like all of these things. But postpartum depression still decided to show up at my door and show up very fiercely. But it showed up in a way that I was not expecting. One of the things that I'm grateful for when it comes to my leave and postpartum depression and all of that is that my husband had 6 months off. So I didn't have to concern myself about the well being of my child when I initially returned to work because she was at home with him for another 2 months. And I'm not the mom that's like, give me my baby. You don't know what you're doing to her father. That's her daddy. Like, he know what he doing. He has done night shift and continues to do night shift when it comes to her. So I'm extremely grateful for him and feel very blessed. I didn't have to worry about that contributing to any of my postpartum depression. Um, however, um, right when the postpartum depression started to go away, um, was like right after my birthday. My friends showed up for me. They were very supportive um, of checking in on me. And then right when it seemed like the postpartum depression began to like level out, my dad died. Um, he was not sick, and it was completely unexpected. Uh, and it rocked my world. He died March 5th, 2025. My daughter started daycare March 4th, 2025. And I collapsed when I got the phone call. And then right after that, of course, my baby got a fever and she got sick because daycare cooties. So when we were trying to figure out, like, going back to Hampton for my dad's funeral and all of that, my baby was sick. And I was just plagued with like being a mom and making sure that she's okay, not wanting to put her on the road, but not wanting to leave her, while also needing to go say my final goodbyes to my dad. So hard. One thing that I am absolutely not interested in is anybody sending me their thoughts, prayers, and condolences. I think that our American society does not know how to handle death, dying, grief, and loss. So we rely on the robotic phrase of, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sending you my thoughts, prayers, and condolences. And I do not want to hear anyone's empty platitudes. If you have something that is heartfelt and that shows a human to human connection, then I'm open to that. But I am not interested in anyone's generic phrases. So, one of the things that I am grateful for when it comes to my postpartum depression is the fact that it hit when it hit. I think that God allowed it to happen when it did, i.e., 1 month before my dad's passing, was so that the community and support could be built at that moment, so that when my dad passed weeks later, the support and the foundation was already there. So it was easy to tap into my friends um, to be able to provide me with support. Example, so my husband planned all of my birthday stuff. All I had to do was show up and look cute. My friend created a group chat for all of those who were going to be at my birthday function. So when my dad passed, all I had to do was go into that group chat with my mixed group of friends and say what happened. I texted them 45 minutes after I found out. And all I said was, if you don't hear from me, this is why. Because I didn't want them to be concerned or think that anything was related to the PPD. It was due to my dad's passing. And I am grateful for that community that had already been established so that I could easily tap into them. Um, my friends drove 3 hours to attend my dad's funeral with me. And as an only child, my friends mean everything to me. And I'm so grateful for the way that they showed up for me. I'm so grateful. I don't even feel deserving. I'm so grateful. I had childhood friends from church reach out to me and coordinate for me to get my hair done. That's why my hair looks good right now. I wasn't able to get it done for the funeral because I didn't have time, but I was able to get it done a few days ago when I went down to Hampton to help with dead dad stuff. I am thankful for my job that gave me Uber gift cards for like Uber Eats and stuff. I'm grateful for my job giving me a Visa gift card. I'm grateful for the people who sent cash. I am grateful for my husband who found a company that could meal prep for me to ease some of the PPD and the grief that I've been experiencing. I am grateful for the people who sent flowers and plants. Um, for my friends who sent grief journals for me to work through. I literally was just able to crack it open yesterday because I didn't think that I was ready to move through those feelings. I'm grateful for my cousins who came to visit me. I'm grateful for everyone who picked up the phone to call me and didn't send a text message. Um, Although I continue to work through these feelings, I find strength to carry on. There are very much so like ebbs and flows of this journey. And most of the time, I am very, very strong, not because I am forcing myself to be strong, but because I know nothing else other than to be strong. I know nothing else other than to endure. I come from people who have endured some of the worst things in life. So it's in my DNA. And I don't mean like ancestors, I mean my parents. So I know nothing other than still showing up. And I know that my job as a wife and a mother does not stop. And I don't want to slow down any of those experiences. I want to make space for all of the different aspects of my life. And now grief is another piece of my life that I have to make space for. And at this point in time, I am simply trying to make sure that the grief that has been added into my life feels like a piece of my story instead of the story. And right now, it still feels like the story. I know that eventually I'll get to a point where it simply feels like a piece, but the grief is so heavy right now, as you can see, that it makes it a bit difficult. I don't mask my grief. I took 2 weeks off from work. I told people obviously what I was going through. Um, but there's only so much crying and wailing that a girl can do. I know that I have to release it from my body, so I take care of myself in appropriate ways. Um, and what will be, will be. But I'm grateful for the people that I have in my community, all of those who show up for me, for myself, for my family, for my husband, because he's going through the loss as well. And that is where I am 7 months postpartum. I have a whole new mom series that I had typed up a while ago. And I'm hoping that, since I was able to create this update, I'll finally be able to film that series because it's really, really good info, in my opinion. But I had to get up here and share what's been going on because I've been gone for a while. I thank you all for your patience. That is all that I have. I'll catch you in the next video.